So it looks like Nintendo is back at it again with fixing some of the problems with the Nintendo Switch. It looks like one of the problems of the Nintendo Switch has finally been fixed. Now, if you haven't known, in the last couple of hours or in the last day, you may have noticed that there's been a new Nintendo Switch firmware version. So the Nintendo Switch has been updated. Now in this firmware, you're not going to get anything new. So there's going to be no new features to the Nintendo Switch. We're not getting any new features when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. But what we're actually getting is we're actually getting a new fix for one of the problems that a lot of people have been complaining about with the Nintendo Switch. Now once you download this firmware, it's only going to take you literally a couple of seconds. That's what happened to me when I downloaded the firmware for the Nintendo Switch. It literally only took me a couple of seconds to download it because, like I said again, there's no new features in this firmware update. We're just getting a bug fix. Now what are we actually fixing? Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Now what we're actually getting addressed is we're actually getting addressed the battery issue that a lot of people have been complaining with, whereas the battery indicator has not been displaying the right percentage. You'd be low on percent. For instance, you'd be like maybe 30 or 40%, and you would think that your Switch is getting low to die, but in reality you still had a couple of hours left in the tank, so the battery indicator was malfunctioning. But it looks like Nintendo has addressed that. So now when you play, your battery indicator should be correct to what you actually have left of your battery. And honestly, I can say something about this because honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've actually encountered this problem with my Nintendo Switch. I've actually had the problem to where it would say like I think 47% left battery, and I would still have literally like 80 or 90% battery left, and I can continue on playing. And also I've run into the issue too, as well as when you actually charge it, it wouldn't charge over 49%, and when I unplugged it after about 3 or 4 hours and went to handheld mode, it would say oh yeah, you're still sitting at 47% battery. I'm like, huh, that's weird. It can't be sitting at 47% battery when I clearly charged it 3 or 4 hours. So it is nice that Nintendo is fixing this whole battery issue. It's not like before it was really too big of a deal, because actually, if you're not aware, there's kind of a workaround, at least for me, the way I did it, and it actually worked was, if you don't know about the Nintendo Switches, you can actually fix the battery indicator problem somewhat. I mean, it would still show up once in a while. I actually heard people who said that the battery indicator on the Nintendo Switch actually would malfunction if you don't use your Switch for a long time, and that's actually what happened to me. I took about a week off from playing Nintendo Switch, and then when I came back, my whole battery indicator was wonky. It wasn't acting right when I was charging it and things like that. So that could be one problem. You have to play your Switch frequently or it'll actually mess up. I know that's weird to say. You would think that by playing a system or using something more would actually cause more wear and tear on it, but in this case, if you're not using it enough, it actually causes wear and tear the other way, which is kind of funny at all. But what you could actually do is, before this patch, at least for me, what you could do is actually drain the Nintendo Switch until it completely dies. Let it completely die in handheld mode. So kill the battery, and then once the battery is completely dead, charge it all the way back up to 100%, and then that should fix the problem. And that did actually end up fixing the problem for me, so I am thankful that was one way to fix the battery indicator gauge. But now it looks like Nintendo has officially fixed this issue altogether with the new firmware. So there shouldn't be any more cases of people complaining about how the battery indicator or the battery gauge is inaccurately showing the battery percent of the Nintendo Switch. That is good news, and honestly for me anyway, I only had that problem one time, and once I started using it back on a regular basis, there was really no problem with my whole Nintendo Switch battery gauge anyway. But it is nice. I'm just glad Nintendo has finally realized some people were complaining about it, and they finally fixed this, because honestly, before I actually reset my Nintendo Switch or killed the battery and recharged it, and it went up to 100% and it started working correctly, I was honestly about to call Nintendo, freak out, and things like that. But that one was not a life or a death sentence for your Nintendo Switch. So even if they never really did address it in this new firmware update for the Nintendo Switch, it's not like your Nintendo Switch was going to actually die or break or anything like that, because I was able to fix it. A lot of people were able to fix it before, and it wasn't anything that was going to ruin your experience, and you can still use your Nintendo Switch. I'm just really glad Nintendo actually went ahead and updated this and fixed one of the critical parts of the Nintendo Switch, because really this is really a big deal, because a lot of people do play in handheld mode, a lot of people play on the TV and in handheld mode, and it's just nice to know that when you're out and about, you know how much battery you have left in the tank. That's really important to know, and people will stop freaking out. Anyway, that's pretty much all we got for the Nintendo Switch. Anyway guys, Peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.